Well then, Sean here from LINESINWAX, back at you with another video. This time, it's been a while. It's always been a while. I always leave huge gaps between my videos because I'm an idiot. But today, I've been inspired by some recent jiggery pokery that I've seen on the internet. Some people making their own videos, particularly the guy called Questy. You may know Questy if you are watching my small YouTube channel. Then you probably know who Questy is, right? Questy obviously is a metal YouTuber. He recently did a list of 100 black metal albums, essential black metal albums for you to listen to. And I was watching that list, and it was a good list, to be fair. And there were some criticisms or people piping up in the comments and saying, this doesn't feel like an essential black metal list. This feels like your favorites as a list. People were saying that to Questy. And I thought, well, yeah, of course. He's gonna, obviously gonna make a list out of the 100 things that he thinks is really good. And I thought to myself, what would my list look like? And then I went, of course, to Rate Your Music, because I'm one of those losers that writes down everything that I listen to, and I upload it all to Rate Your Music to keep track of it all, because yeah, that's how we roll around these parts. And sorry. And yeah, anyway, so I thought, well, I'll make my own list with blackjack and hookers. And that's exactly what I did. Not that there's anything wrong with Questy's list. No. This is merely an inspiration. And I went away and made my own list. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So this isn't what I would call 100 essential black metal records. It's going to be 100 of the black metal records that I have rated 4 stars or above. So let's get into it. But there is one thing to take into account before we dive in. Of course, this being black metal, there is some things in this list that some people may find, what do they say? Quote unquote sketchy. Okay, if you have a problem with sketchy black metal, then maybe do not watch this list. That's not to say that I've made a list entirely of sketchy black metal. Absolutely not. In fact, there are some other controversial entries to this list that maybe fans of more, how should I say, spicy black metal would probably crucify me for including, because I don't really subscribe to any scenes or any sides in this. Like, I know, yeah, obviously politics and ideology, obviously people take sides, but to me this is just music. Like, I understand that people's ideologies and beliefs and what have you fire them up to make said music, yeah, but when music is made and it's out in the world, it becomes art, and therefore it can be consumed by anybody. Yeah, it really can, right? No matter how much people on Reddit tell you that it can't, it fucking can. Just because you maybe listen to a sketchy black metal band doesn't make you a fucking Nazi. Let me just get that completely clear and out of the way. And on the flip side, just because I listen to proper left-wing fucking anarchist punk doesn't make me like a mad fucking soy boy or whatever the fuck insults people want to throw at me. I learned this the hard way with the Deaf in June video I did a year or so ago. You literally cannot fucking please anybody. There will always be people that are pissed off with you from either side of the coin just for daring to fucking talk about a band. So, first things first, I've started with the more obvious stuff at the top of the list, and then I'm going to go into the more, as it goes on, it'll go off into more, how should I say, obscure bits and bobs. So, to start then, the first, number one, these are in no particular order. Number one, Blasphemy, Fallen Angel of Doom. Oh, man, this fucking thing is just... How do I describe Blasphemy, Fallen Angel of Doom? If you've never heard Blasphemy's Fallen Angel of Doom, I'm assuming if you're on a list about black metal albums that is going this deep, then you probably are aware of what Fallen Angel of Doom sounds like. But if you're not, then it's kind of like a grinding mush, without being grindcore, of low-tuned, just like attacks of guitars, just storms of just like thunderclaps of drums, and just like this disgusting vocal just like belching over the top of it. It is black metal, probably very loosely, but also very, very much associated with the scene and its history. Blasphemy, the black metal skinheads, fucking just like one of the, I know this genre now which is spun off into bestial black or war metal or whatever, and you've got the whole scene of bands that have basically started playing in this style, some of them which will appear later in this video, but Blasphemy to me, are quite probably the originators, maybe outside of Sarcophago. But this is really like the turning point for this kind of music, and it really like is such a brutal and just uncompromising and dark and disgusting album, and it has to be on this list, and it's one of my favorites, hence it's being right at the top. In second place on my list of 100 black metal albums that you should probably listen to is Darkthrone's Transylvanian Hunger, another probably obvious entry. You could probably swap this out with a few different early Darkthrone records if you were so inclined. But for me, Transylvanian Hunger is my favorite. It is the most raw, the most uncompromising, the most just like puzzling. When I first heard Transylvanian Hunger as a teenager, I was just like, what in the fuck is this? It felt like I'd opened a crypt and I was hearing something that I wasn't supposed to be hearing, which sounds a bit stupid really, considering how mainstream Darkthrone are as far as metal goes in general. But like, you know, you got to put it in the time frame and in the context of the art being created. And even in this was in like the peak of the second wave of black metal, and there was a lot of really, really like innovative stuff coming out at the time. Darkthrone's Transylvanian Hunger is just the pure distilled essence of second wave black metal, in my opinion. It's got a lot of lyrics and stuff in here written by Varg from what's the fuck's his name, from Burzum, and you know, the songs are just like so sparse and uncompromising and brutally simple that like it's just fucking beautiful in its minimalism, I guess. Is that the right way to put it? I don't fucking know. Anyway, yeah, fucking essential. Like, I know this is not a list of essentials, but this one is fucking essential. Third place, also fucking essential, and I won't dwell too much on this one because I've already talked about it in a previous video, and that's the Burzum self-titled album. Burzum. There are obviously several other Burzum albums which you could put here. Any of the first four really, you know, would suffice, I guess. But my favorite is the self-titled. It is it's out the gate, isn't it? Unless you're around for the demos, if you're going in at the start, this is what you're going to hear. This is that raw, shaky, strange, misty fucking beginnings of Burzum. He would define the sound more on later records, but this first one, it's a little bit unsure of itself. The promise of the songwriting talent is there, but I'm not going to say that the production isn't, because the production doesn't really get any better. It changes with the later albums, but on this one, it's particularly shaky. It sounds like a debut. It sounds like a new and exciting world, a new pasture of misty fields and forests for you to explore. Fucking fantastic, really. And moving away from the raw shit for a bit, number 4, Dimmu Borgir's Enthroned Darkness Triumphant. Now, I can maybe already smell some of the Cavalt as fuck tough guys, as J-Dog calls them, piping up in the background going, what the fuck? Yeah, but Dimmu Borgir, this shit, early Dimmu Borgir is fucking fantastic. I mean, I kind of lost my way with Dimmu Borgir after this album. I have a soft spot for Puritane Enthroned. What's the one with the like naked chick on the front? That one is fucking great, mainly because of Nick Barker, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Enthroned Darkness Triumphant, this is, for me, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, actually, symphonic black metal albums. Like the fucking keyboards and the atmospheres on this are second to none. And the black metal is cold and just filled with riffs. You don't realize it, like how fucking good the riffs are in this. It's easy to write off Dimmu Borgir and go, they're fucking entry level, fucking, you know, newbie black metal bullshit. But like, this fucking rules. The riffs on this are incredible. They're so good. They're so tight. And they're really nasty. Same goes for Shagraf's vocals. Like, he kind of just, I don't know if he falls off, but he seems to get comfortable as the band goes on. But here, like, he is so rabid and angry, and just like his screams are just incredible. And you've got this like frosty, thin production, and then underneath it, just like all this fucking amazing keyboard playing and like orchestral stuff, all synthesized, of course, and it's a fantastic balance, and it's all really good, a bit twinkly, but it's really nice, and it's full of incredible songs like Spellbound by the Devil and Tormentor of Christian Souls. Like this is fucking classic, absolute classic. So it's in the list. I need to start moving through these a bit quicker, I think, otherwise we're going to be here forever. Speaking of classics, number 5, Bathory with Under the Sign of the Black Mark. You know, I'm going to say it. right? I like every Bathory album. Every single Bathory album, every single one. I like them. There's something good about all of them. But the first four, any of them could be on this list. Under the Sign of the Black Mark, which is the third album, probably the best one for this list. It really kind of just... obviously, like the first album and then the Return of Darkness and Evil probably is more of a template for what black metal is, but I think that Bathory really came into their own by the time of Under the Sign of the Black Mark. The songwriting is a bit more progressed along, it's a bit more full, it's a bit more satisfying, even though the production is still absolute dog shit, and that is fine with me. Absolutely fucking brilliant. If you've never heard Bathory before, pause the motherfucking video right now and check on Under the Sign of the Black Mark. Sixth place, again, another building block of the genre, Venom with black metal. I almost put Welcome to Hell on here, which is, I think, better. But black metal obviously gives it the namesake of the genre, and you get that title track as well. Also, a lot of, how can I say, the imagery of black metal kind of comes from Venom, who inspired Bathory, etc. This is not a history lesson, but like, this maybe is very loosely defined because obviously black metal wasn't really a thing when this album came about. There's a lot of songs about stuff which doesn't really fit into like the black metal aesthetic, but the look, the sheer evil of it. But yeah, Welcome to Hell, At War with Satan, black metal, any early fucking Venom. I had to put something on here from early Venom, so this is it. Number 7, Immortal with Battles in the North. Now, again, another controversial opinion, maybe, depending on how people feel about the more recent Immortal stuff. I like every Immortal album. I don't think Immortal has a bad album. But the stuff, after they kind of came out with like Full Moon, and then they kind of defined their sound a bit, not smooth, they didn't smooth it out, and again, it's an excellent fucking album, but At the Heart of Winter sees them starting to smooth out a bit. Battles in the North is in that kind of rut between the debut and when they started getting really like big production and really like ambitious epic songs. Battles in the North is fucking unstoppable. The drums on this are absolutely bonkers. You could also probably put Blizzard Beasts or Pure Holocaust in here, but Battles in the North is my favorite. I love the cover of this. This is just fucking unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable. The drumming on this is bonkers. And when you find out the guy who played the guitars on this has acute tendonitis, or did, then you realize why he's riffing like an absolute fucking maniac on this thing. All the power to early Immortal. Absolutely fucking savage. And an often overlooked band because people write them off as a joke. You know what I mean? People are like, oh yeah, Abath and yeah, Demonizer. It's just all fucking, they look fucking ridiculous. And I guess they do play up to that massively, but god damn, this thing is fucking great. Number 8, Satyricon with Dark Medieval Times. I'm going to level with you. I'm not really a big fan of Satyricon in general. This first album is probably an exception. I don't mind the other ones, one or two after this, and it goes into like the black and roll stuff, which is okay. I don't dislike it, and that's the Satyricon I became familiar with because I think Fuel for Hatred was the first Satyricon song I heard ever. That was on Rebel Extravaganza, and the first album I really got was Now Diabolical, and I saw them live on that tour as well, and I like what they're doing, but when you go back and you realize it actually did real tidy black metal once, then that other stuff becomes a bit redundant. But Dark Medieval Times is just like the title of the album sounds. Just look at the title of this fucking thing, look at the fucking art on this thing and go, well, I don't want to fucking listen to that. And you are insane, boss man, because this shit fucking slaps. If you don't look at that cover and think, well, I want to check that out, that looks fucking incredible, then maybe maybe black metal isn't for you. I don't know. But this is fucking great. This is as raw as Satyricon get. It's not that raw, to be fair, but it's primitive beginnings from a band which maybe went too far in one direction that a lot of people don't like. But as far as black metal goes, this is fucking in there. And on a similar note, a similar path was taken by number 9 on this list, Covenant with In Times Before the Light. Now, they went all industrial and changed their name and had a K instead of a C. But the old Covenant released a black metal classic. The demo is actually really fucking good as well. I can't remember the name of the fucking demo, but there's a demo that came before In Times Before the Light, and that is also really, really good. But In Times Before the Light is I don't know how to describe it. It's quite subdued, but also really interesting. The production isn't exactly, stellar, but it's not as necro and unlistenable as some of the stuff on this list. And it really is a nice balance, and is a nice element and elements of like I don't want to say theatrical elements, but it certainly has, like a wider scope than some of the stuff. As you could see, they obviously had a lot of weird different influences because they went off on a fucking tangent and did something completely different. Don't get confused, because they also re-recorded In Times Before the Light in their later industrial style, which isn't bad, but it isn't as good as the original black metal version. So make sure you pick up the right one if you're going to check it out. In 10th place then is 1349 with Hellfire. Holy smokes, this thing is fucking fast. Now, going back to the number 7, Immortal Battles in the North kind of school of thought, this thing is fucking unstoppable. You've got Frost on the drums, Frost from Satyricon, funny enough, but here seems to be someone just injected him with like some go faster juice or some shit. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but god damn, this thing absolutely fucking slays. It is unstoppably heavy and brutal. Just the speed. The drums may sound like wet cardboard boxes, but there is a small trade-off to pay for such a fucking relentless and absolutely incinerating experience, taking into account the name there. Vocally, just rabid. The guitar riffs are just wowzers, like the riffs for days and speed for days. If you like fast, uncompromising, just unstoppable black metal, then look no further than 1349's Hellfire. You can't really go wrong with a lot of 1349, but Hellfire really takes the cake. Imho. In 11th place is more sparkly shit. Cradle of Filth with Vampire or Dark Fairy Tales in Palestine, Symbols and Signs to Know Us By. This is the first Cradle of Filth EP, came out after their debut album, so they'd recorded their debut at this point. In fact, they'd recorded their sophomore album and canned it and released this EP instead. So this was technically their third recording, really, the proper recording, and it came out second. But it is fucking fantastic. You've got the how should I say, raw energy of a brand new band that seems like hungry for the world that they're about to enter, the journey they're about to embark on. Everyone on this thing is firing on full cylinders, maybe a little bit too much, if anything. There's too much fucking energy. Like, the riffs are fucking all over the place. It's like Iron Maiden on meth. Like, and then you've got Nick Barker on the drums. Don't know what the fuck happened to Nick Barker. Like, on Principle of Evil Made Flesh, the band's debut, he's like, you know, a very competent, very good drummer, actually, especially when you listen to like the fills and the way he plays the cymbals and what have you. And then fast forward to fucking this shit, and he is just like, what the fuck? He's like tripled in speed and like technicality in like a year or whatever. It's crazy. Anyway, this is some of the most fucking incredible black metal songs ever. Yeah, I said it. Sorry, do the J-Dog. I fucking said black metal. Cradle of Filth is black metal, or it fucking was anyway. I don't know if it still is, but it was back in these days. And yeah, Queen of Winter Throned and fucking Rape and Ruin of Angels, those songs alone are just absolutely incredible, especially Queen of Winter Throned. And the keyboard work on this is just it's fucking second to none. Anyway, number 12, the first spicy entry onto the chart is Graveland with Fire Chariot of Destruction. Yes, there we go. Maybe controversial for some people because I've included a band like Graveland. Maybe controversial to other people because I've picked a Graveland album that's not one of the early ones. I'm not really that big of a fan of early Graveland, I'll be honest with you. Stuff like the first couple of releases I find are really fucking shit. It's only like later on, like from Immortal Pride onward, they really pick up the torch. Imho. Again, I don't fucking know where Graveland stand on the political spectrum. Like, I've read a lot of their lyrics. It's just all like war and paganism and raising the flag of my ancestors. I'm not making excuses for any of this shit. You cannot separate the art from artist. Don't let anyone tell you that you can. That's a weak excuse. If you're going to listen to Graveland, own that you listen to Graveland or any other of these other fucking sketchy bands. Admit to yourself that you liked them, and it's okay. Yeah, it is okay. You don't have to go, oh yes, I'd like to separate the art from the artist. No, fuck that. Right? Yeah, they're clearly inspired by this shit to write about it. Anyway, Fire Chariot of Destruction, in my opinion, is one of the harder fucking Graveland albums. It comes in there like, they do like a battery, don't they, Graveland? They start with the raw black metal shit, and they go into like the epic Viking-y kind of shit. And this is kind of like between the two things, and it's, to me, it hits really fucking hard. Like, it's one of the heavier, messier albums of that kind of era. And just look at the album cover as well. That just tells you everything you need to know. It's like, whoa, this is gonna melt your nuts off, and it fucking does as well. And in a similar vein, in a similar nut melting agenda, is number 13 with Impaled Nazarene and Ugra Karma. And I almost put the first album, but it's a bit all over the shop. So Ugra Karma is kind of when it really pulls together. Albums after this start getting a bit silly. Like, I love Impaled Nazarene, I love all their albums, but yeah, the first two were the best, in my opinion, and Ugra Karma is probably the best example of what you're going to get. A lot of grindcore influence in here, at least punk and grind kind of get mixed in with this really nasty, dirty kind of Finnish sound. A lot of Finnish black metal has that kind of unique kind of melodic sense to it. Not Impaled Nazarene, not to say they don't have melody, but this shit is fucking wild. It'll run wild and set your nuts on fire, as I just promised. Now, this is where it's going to get very controversial, I think. People are expecting controversial entries, like I said, because of, the spiciness of some politics in black metal. Maybe they won't expect this. Number 14, Liturgy with Hack, or H-A-Q-Q. So, yeah, we go. Fuck everyone off on the right now. Lovely, brilliant. Guess what? This band has trans members. Fucking deal with it. Why do people go so crazy over that shit? I really don't get it. And anyway, Liturgy, probably more black metal adjacent than it is pure black metal, just to cover myself there before people start losing their mind in the comment section. But they did have more black metal-y based stuff like Aesthetica earlier in their career. But Hack is just like, what in the fuck is going on here? This is mad. Like, this is really, really mad. This, to me, is like, it kind of, how can I say? If you've heard, like, the Reformation era Swans, it's kind of like that mixed with black metal. And this whole, like, weird kind of self-written manifesto and religious alchemical stuff. I don't really understand any of it. I'll be honest with you. Maybe I'm not smart enough or hipstery enough to get it, but I don't need to get it, really. There's a lot of stuff on this list I don't fucking understand. Look at all the right-wing shit. Do you think I understand that? No, of course I fucking don't. But, like, this is mad. Like, absolutely bonkers. And I can't deny something being great because people hate the band. Like, this is fucking fantastic. I would recommend Liturgy to everybody who likes things that are just orally challenging and, just difficult music. This is just bonkers. And it's black metal related. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. So in the list it goes. Brilliant album. Absolutely brilliant. Number 15, Minnenwerfer, or is it Meinenwerfer, with Alpenpass. Now, this looks fucking great. This album has been haunting me for years. The album cover is like, I'd be like, oh, I need to check out the album with the sniper on it. I need to, and I did. I finally fucking did. And guess what? It's fucking great. But I don't need to tell you that. Everyone out there's probably thinking, yeah, we knew this band were good fucking years ago, you idiot. But yeah, Alpenpass is fucking brilliant. It's quite typical, I guess, in some regards, but also really unique. And the drummer is fucking brilliant. I've heard a few albums from this band now. I can't recall the names of other ones because I'm still quite new to them, but this was really impressive. When I first sat down and listened to this for the first time all the way through with headphones on, I really was just really blown away by it. I can't remember. There's a name of the song at the end of it, and I was just like, oh my God, this is fucking outstanding. The drumming especially was just like, wow. Fucking great bit of black metal. If don't mind the war-themed stuff, I know people don't always like the war-themed stuff. I'm not talking about fucking Cannon Fever or whatever the fuck they're called. I'm talking actual tidy black metal. No offense to those guys. But yeah, this is great. Number 16, Moonblood, Brut a Krieg. Probably fucking said that wrong. I don't give a fuck. Moonblood sketch? I don't know. I fucking listened to it and it was great. This is fucking great. Really moody, dark, fucking hideous shit from the 90s with lots of really cool like keyboard bits as well and a nice raw production. That's what the fucking doctor ordered. Moonblood, I instantly can't think of anything except maybe that time of the month for the ladies when fucking Moonblood. Doesn't like George Martin call that Moonblood? Moonblood's in like Oh, I don't know. But yeah, that's all I'm thinking of when I see the name Moonblood. Moonblood, I'm like, is he talking about periods? Really? Surely not. No, he's not. Of course he's fucking not. But yeah, fucking great. I'll be honest with you. I'll level with you. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an expert on these guys or guy. I've never actually heard another Moonblood release, but this is one of the first, I think, and I heard it and I was just fucking blown away by it. Heard it fairly recently, I'll be honest with you, and I just thought, well, that's got to go on the list. It has to. It's really fucking good. Another recent one that's gone on the list is number 17's Horner, with an EP name that I absolutely cannot fucking pronounce. Let me just go for it for the fucking sheer fuck of it. Perima Vihasa Ja Verikostos. Yeah, no fucking clue, and there's absolutely no fucking chance that I got that right. That was this is an EP by Horner, and this again, first listen, first impression is just like, wow, why the fuck haven't I listened to this band? Of course, as time has gone on, I've realized Horner has a lot of mixed quality stuff, but this is fucking outstanding. Like proper like wasp like guitars, that like proper 90s like hollow frosty sound, and like the drumming on this is phenomenal. The compositions and the songwriting, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I strongly recommend it. 18th place is Sark with I guess that's how you say it, Sark with Varuna. I discovered these by accident as well. This has got Nocturnal Culto in it from Dark Throne. So if you get sick of Dark Throne's like punk shit as they get on in years, maybe segue into Sark. Bit more, it's different to Dark Throne, but it also sounds a lot like Dark Throne, obviously, because it's got Nocturnal Culto on it. Anything that's got Nocturnal Culto singing on it is going to sound like Dark Throne. That's the reality of the situation. But yeah, again, this is really well composed, a little bit more, I don't want to say progressive compared to Dark Throne, because Dark Throne obviously have their own progressive styles, right, and ideas, and they just mix all sorts of shit together. But Sark at least feels like it's got a vision, at least on Varuna. Like they have a unified plan, and it comes together a bit better here, I think, than some of the Dark Throne experiments. And I'm a huge Dark Throne fan. I'm not ragging on the other stuff. But yeah, there we go. 18, Saka with Verona. Number 19, Weakling, Dead as Dreams. Pretty depressing shit, but also really quite uplifting, and with really long, quite melodic, morose songs, but also quite uncompromising at the same time. Really, a nice balance of everything, really. And again, it was another one of those bands that I've seen the album art for fucking years and years and years, like for as long as I could remember knocking about. I'm like, oh, I'll have to listen to that one day, especially with the Weakling logo looking the way it does. I'm like, oh, I'll have to look at that one day. You know, that day finally came, brah. About fucking 15 years later. But yeah, great album. Check it out. Number 20, Agaloch, or as we say in Welsh, Agaloch. Pale Folklore. Not really a big fan of Agaloch, I'll be honest with you. Especially when you get to, you know, The Mantle and all that kind of stuff. Ashes Against the Grain. Maybe, not really for me. I don't know what it is about Pale Folklore that stands out, really. But Pale Folklore feels a bit more organic. It feels a bit more like I don't know, youthful, I guess. Maybe they haven't quite formulated their sound to the perfect distillation yet. And that kind of amateurishness, that sound like you're listening to a band recording in the woods, maybe, is what makes Pale Folklore better than the other Agaloch albums. And I think it's a really unique atmosphere on this. And I like the recurring motif through it of the recurring song, like part 1, 2, and 3, and so on. Really good. And it's not something I would usually listen to or usually recommend. So it's an outlier in this list. Agaloch. Check it out. Right, I need to start speeding things up because it's half hour and we've only done 20 fucking bands. Number 21, a newer entry, Calderum with Mystical Fortress of Iberian Lands. Now, I think this was a random pick from like Reddit, Boo Hiss, or maybe Bandcamp, I can't remember, but fuck, Calderum is great. They've got another record called Lords Cramrador or some shit, but both of these are fucking brilliant. Really good modern black metal with that old school approach to things. Excellent balance of like all instrumentation, and the fucking drums again are outstanding. I won't spend too long on this because it's a new one and I need to keep moving along. I'm spending too long on each entry. Caldera, Mystical Fortress of Iberian Lands, fucking outstanding. Number 22, Abysmal Lord with Disciples of the Inferno. Back to that war metal style, kind of. They got that messy kind of, I guess they've almost got like a dark kind of deep grind sound to them, as in like Blood, Blood from Germany. They've got that kind of feel to them, and of course the madness of war metal like Blasphemy and Revenge and what have you. I'm a big fan of this. I've been looking for an Abysmal Lord t-shirt for a while. I wouldn't mind a nice Abysmal Lord t-shirt. Anyway, Disciples of the Inferno. Fucking check it out. Number 23, Akikoki with the Goat of Mendez. Now, Akikoki are a death metal band, I hear you scream. Well, maybe they are and maybe they're not. I don't fucking know. I know they definitely went full death metal as time went on, but the whole Satanism thing, like the really heavy Satanism thing, I always saw them as a black metal band when I was a kid, because maybe I was wrong, I don't fucking know, but the Goat of Mendez, it's gotta be black metal. This is black metal. This is fucking weird. It's like you put like Deicide in a blender with Haverhedge and you've got Akikoki, the Goat of Mendez. Really fucking strange production, really strange, really fucking weird. Drums sound bonkers, really bizarre and thick and heavy, and the guitars are like thin like paper, and the vocals, again, you got that Glenn Benton Deicide kind of, and then you've got like the more, actually some of the more impressive like screeches as well, deep from like proper demonic cacodemon kind of screeches. Yeah, this shit is, don't let the suits and boobies, the girls with the boobies out on the album cover or whatever fool you. This is fucking hard as fuck. This is like uncompromising shit. Number 24, Antichrist Siege Machine with Purifying Blade, falling again into that kind of like the war metal territory, but again, maybe having their own kind of take on things. Maybe moving away from the messiness of like the progenitors of this, the originators of this genre, and becoming a bit more streamlined. Maybe that's not what you want out of your war metal, but I think Antichrist Siege Machine are fucking really good, and this is a really good album. Speaking of war metal, I missed a fucking classic at the start. Number 25, Beheaded with Drawing Down the Moon. Now, Beheaded, obviously, the Oath of Black Blood, they did like the classic fucking war metal style with Blasphemy and so on and so forth. But it was only when Drawing Down the Moon came out, I find they really put their stamp on things. They made like really weird, interesting music. Like listen to the Gate of Nana and tell me that's not fucking strange. You know what I mean? Like, it's obviously war metal, but it's got this just such a fucking strange atmosphere to it. I don't know how to describe it. It's just really weird. Really, really, really weird. I don't actually own this album, and I love this album. I need to get on that. Also from Finland, in number 26 is Belial with Never Again. Belial only did 3 albums, and each of them are quite different from the last. And Never Again was their middle album, which again, it kind of leans towards death metal, but it has like the black metal aesthetic and sound, almost war metal, kind of, in its approach. And it's also got that messy death approach, like with Blood from Germany. Like I said, I think these guys share members with Impaled Nazarene, which probably explains a lot, but I'm not really a fan of any other Belial album. This one, I think, is fucking great. Number 27, continuing the B's, is Bestial Putrefaction with Eternal Flesh-Ripping Chaos. Now, this one's a fucking nasty little bugger, let me tell you. It's fucking like mixing gore noise and black metal into like this unstoppable cauldron of headache-inducing noise. Just take a look at the sleeve for this thing, and you will end up looking like that by the time you've finished listening to it. It's up to you to decide whether or not you that's in it for you or not. If that's what you want, then press play. Otherwise, stay the fuck away from this one, because it is probably one of the more uncompromising listens on this list, and that is really saying something. Number 28, Bestial Warlust with Vengeance War Till Death. Vengeance War Till Death, the that isn't quite a structural sentence, is it? I mean, it kind of is, but it's a really bad formation of a sentence. Says I, who can barely form a fucking sentence. This is another war metal classic. A bit more form to it than, like, say, Blasphemy or older Beherit. But again, this is a classic of the genre. And if you are looking here for war metal stuff, I don't need to tell you what this sounds like. If you're looking for more war metal stuff, go and check this out because this fucking rules. Number 29. Christ, I've had a lot of B's in a row. It's Bethlehem with Dictius Te Nicere. Probably fucking that album pronunciation right up. This one is an interesting one because I don't really like Bethlehem, but they had a vocalist for a while and I can't fucking remember his name. I googled it before I started this fucking video and I've already forgotten because I've taken 40 minutes probably to get to this fucking point. His vocals are fucking bonkers. This guy is screeching like a banshee. His voice breaks. He goes up like King Diamond has just sat on a cactus or something. You know, it's that kind of vocal approach. Very unusual, very punishing. Very intriguing. It's a strange one, and it's a very harrowing listen the first time through. You were like, oh, is this guy all right? He sounds a bit mad. But of course, it's just his vocal style. Excellent. So at number 30 then, another B. The 6 B in a row. Another potentially spicy entry is Black Magic SS with Rainbow Nights. Now, it took me a while to glom onto Black Magic SS may have potentially had sketchy things going on. Yeah, you may think, well, you're a fucking idiot, but how many bands have got SS in the name? You know, Death SS. There was a band fairly local to me called Maniac SS. There was Genocide SS. And these are all like grindcore and crust punk bands. So when I see Black Magic SS, I didn't think anything about it. You know what I mean? I didn't think, that's sus. But it was... when I was listening to an earlier album of theirs called Kaleidoscope Dreams, you know, I listened to it a few times on YouTube and I was like, you know what, I wouldn't mind buying this. This is really good. And I went on Discogs. This release is blocked from sale. And I was like, what? Why the fuck is this blocked? This hippy-dippy black metal shite. And then, of course, I realized there was fucking swastikas all over the cover. But there we go. I'm a fucking moron. But, nevertheless, Rainbow Nights, the album, is, I'm going to say it, one of the best albums ever made. Sue me. It fucking is. There's a song on here called Mother's Lullaby. I genuinely think that is one of the best songs ever written. Ever, by any band. If that doesn't sell it to you, then I don't know what will. Yeah, but bear in mind, they play with sketchy imagery. For some fucking reason, I don't know why they do. It's completely unnecessary, given their style. Whatever. Fuck them for that. But this shit rules. Number 31. Bilksknir, probably fucking up that name, In Flames of Purification. A bit sketchy name there, probably a bit sketchy, this band. I think this guy now plays in the modern day incarnation of Absurd, or one of them. I don't know how many Absurds there are. Would the real Absurd please stand up? Because I don't fucking know who's in Absurd anymore. But yeah, I think this guy's in Absurd now. Anyway, this shit fucking rules. Now, you can listen to later stuff. This is old. You can also listen to later stuff from this band. Really cool, atmospheric, like loner black metal. This is wandering in the fucking woods black metal. Really fucking good shit. And he's got a very long discography, and I admittedly haven't gone through a lot of it, but like what I have heard, there's a later EP from 2018 I've heard, and I've heard this really old one here, the In Flames of Purification, and yeah, it's beautiful stuff. Truly it is. And I recommend checking it out. Number 32, Carpathian Forest with Through Chasm Caves and Titan Woods. Not a fan of Carpathian Forest, to be honest, in general. You know, the shit where like they do like the crust punk stuff and they mix it all together and it's like cheeky chappy, you know, naughty kind of, you know, songs and stuff. Nah, I'm good. But like the original Carpathian Forest, Through Chasm Caves and Titan Woods, a totally different vibe. Bit of a plodder, I'll be honest with you, but really nice atmospheres, really good keyboard work, really complements the metal, as it were. Yeah, a classic of a classic black metal release, 100%. Another controversial one because it's a wimpy one, and people will be like, oh, this isn't true. Cold World in number 33 with Melancholy Squared. Is it called Melancholy Squared or Melancholy 2? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Cold World, this was a stupid fucking album title. But, however, it is very, very good. It's a very, very sorrowful and a bit downer in, but it's also quite fragile and beautiful. I don't think I would necessarily class it as DSBM, but it's definitely along those lines. It's definitely in that ballpark, and it's definitely for people who like that kind of stuff. If you don't like that kind of stuff, then I wouldn't bother. Now, speaking of controversial entries, this is gonna rustle some jimmies, probably more so than some of the right-wing stuff. Number 34, Death Heaven with Sunbather. Shock, horror, fucking Death Heaven's on this list. What the fuck? But yeah, man, this shit is great. I've put a lot of black metal adjacent stuff on here. So here's another black metal adjacent release before I get attacked for saying that Death Heaven is a black metal band. They have black metal elements. Black gaze for days, motherfuckers. I don't know. I think this explosion of sound is fucking great. It's really, really powerful. It's frenetic. It's chaotic. The vocals are fantastic. The production is clear, but also quite, mad. There's a lot going on. I like it. I like the melody that cuts through the carnage. Don't like the album cover, but I appreciate the boldness of it, I'll be honest with you. I actually like a lot of Death Heaven releases. Wasn't fussed on the Roads to Judah, but the ones that followed this, like New Bermuda and Funny Human Love, whatever the one with the human love in the title was called, that was pretty good too. But Sunbather, like it or lump it, it's in the list. Number 35, Gorgoroth with Destroyer, or How to Philosophize with the Hammer. Now, it would be easy to put early Gorgoroth in here. It would have been too easy to put, like, Pentagram or whatever. I thought, no, let's move along and find something a little bit better. And not a little bit better, but a little bit not as typical. But it says the guy who put Transylvanian Hunger at the top of the fucking list. Now, I picked Destroyer because it was the first Gorgoroth album that I heard, so I'm probably a bit biased, but this one is a nasty motherfucker. Like, it's a very cyclical album. All the songs tend to feed together into this mass of just, like, nihilistic death, and that is just beautiful, really. And it caps off with, actually, I think it is a Dark Throne cover on the end of this one, isn't it? And, yeah, this is uncompromising, harsh, disgusting black metal. And if you like that and you've somehow never heard Gorgoroth's Destroyer or How to Philosophize with the Hammer, then please go and check that one out. Number 36, another very controversial entry that's not going to be a sketchy right-wing band. Feminascal with No Dawn for Men. Now, maybe there's a bunch of true culters rage quitting out of this motherfucking video now that I've mentioned this, but this is very similar to the same things I said about Liturgy's Hack. It's not as chaotic or as challenging as Hack, but it has the same, I want to say, Burzum-esque quality of riff upon riff upon riff, like folding steel when you're making, fucking swords and shit. Not that I make swords, but you know what I mean. Like, it's overlapping, just constant fuzz. It's like Swans. If you like Reformation Day Swans, like The Glowing Man, but as black metal, then look no further than Feminascal. Fucking brilliant shit. The name, don't know what that's about. Couldn't give a fuck. It sounds amazing. 37, Defod from Wales. Hello, Defod. Down. The Lengthening Shadow. This was a second release by Welsh black metal band Defod. Cymru beef, motherfucker. Yeah, these guys are fucking great. They have a more, I won't say slower approach to black metal, but they have a more gradual, more deliberate pace. They're not steamrolling through songs. They have a more, they let the ambience and the majesty of their riffs unfold, and you get these slightly longer compositions. Now, production is always pretty good with these guys. They're not raw, coming from the forest to fucking feed you cassettes of barely listenable shit. No, therefore they'll do the proper album, production. It's quite modern sounding, but also harking back to a lot of old influences, again, from Welsh folklore and heritage, of course, to the styles of black metal that they play. Highly recommend Defod if you haven't come across them and you like a more, how should I say, progressive approach to black metal, I suppose. Number 38, Devil Moon from Finland by the subtly named Fucked by the Devil. This one's more of a punky approach to things. Bit of punk venom in this one. Love the album sleeve. Might have to censor that for YouTube, we'll see. Yeah, very cheeky, very nasty, like punky black metal with a real good dollop of fucking melody in there. Yeah, this is good fun, Really good fun, really interesting, really fucking nice, like party kind of listen. Have a few beers in it and listen to this. Number 39, Diocletian with Doom Cult. Diocletian, the thinking man's war metal. If you've seen any interviews with this dude from Diocletian, he's got a lot to say, bless him. And he's worth listening to as well. You know, I'm not saying not to. But yeah, this it's a bit muddy, but the production is great. If, like I said, if a bit sludgy, but it's got the same kind of. It's kind of like Revenge, but for people who read philosophy. That would be my guess. My estimation in sum up of what's so great about Diocletian. And Doom Cult's their first album, I think, and it's well worth checking out. Really good fucking band. And in 40th place then is Drutka with Autumn Aura. You could probably put any early Drutka album here, to be honest, and I almost changed it to one of the, what was the other one called? I'm an idiot. Doesn't matter. But this is fucking great. Drutka is probably probably one of the best like atmospheric black metal bands. You've probably seen people hyping these guys up quite a lot. You know, because of the type of music they play. It really is quite beautiful. It expands, I think, a lot on what Birdsum did, especially the more progressive Birdsum albums that came a bit further into his career. These guys do it better, I think, and yeah, I don't know what to say about this. It's really beautiful music. As far as black metal goes, people say like beautiful black metal is stuff like Alcest. You know, I don't agree with that. I'm not a fan of Alcest, but Drutka, I would say is beautiful black metal. Really, really brilliantly composed stuff. Fantastic stuff. Holy fucking smokes, we are 46 minutes in. I need to speed this fucking shit up. Going back to the second wave. Second wave of black metal classic shit. 41, Enslaved. Frost, one of their first records. Oh my god, cold. Brilliant black metal with that true Nordic feel. Really good shit. Really like atmospheric. It's going to make you think you're like up there in the mountains, you know, looking at the frozen lakes and the frozen peaks, worrying if you're going to make it back to camp before you freeze to death. Fantastic. Another controversial entry, number 42, Curtain Wall with Crocodile Moat. You could probably swap this out for a few Curtain Walls. Don't really know what's up with this shit, I'll be honest with you. It's fucking crazy. It's like black metal and like jokey kind of medieval shit and dungeon civil mixed together. Maybe there's something going on or point to this that I'm missing, but this was an interesting what can I say? Composition, I suppose. Very jaunty and upbeat and enjoyable and good fun. And if that's what you like out of metal or black metal adjacent stuff, then by all means check this out. Number 43, let's get spicy again. This is one of the only, I suppose, true NSPM entries onto this list, and that's Capricornus with Alone Against All. Capricornus was the drummer for Graveland on the old shit. Some of the stuff wasn't particularly amazing, I'll be honest with you. He ended Force Hammer, which is a band that I find absolutely deplorable, I'll be honest with you. And then the solo bit he did at the end before going off and not really doing anything after that, I don't think, was his solo stuff, Capricornus. He did splits and stuff like I haven't heard. But Alone Against All, I'll be honest with you, this was a random YouTube listen because I've been listening a lot of stuff like this recently, and this one just came on, and I was like, oh, brilliant. I've been meaning to check this out. This is the one with the dog on the front. Yeah. This is fucking pretty good. I'm not really a big fan of pretty much a lot of stuff that Capricornus is involved in, except maybe Immortal Pride by Graveland. And this really surprised me, how great this is, how together this sounds. Again, I can't vouch for the lyrical content. I haven't dug that deep into it. I don't want to, because I'm afraid I'm going to see something that I don't want to see. But yeah, this is fucking solid black metal. Really solid, and I think that one guy does the whole thing, I think, which is it's fucking brilliant. Number 44, another random internet find from last year. I think it's Etza Satan, The Moon Shining Through the Window. I bought this cassette because I was like, this is fucking great. Again, really lo-fi, dirgy, like mysterious black metal. Like you're listening from a basement and you can hear it in the attic, and it's got like really like unsettling synthesizers behind it. Really unusual, really strange, dank, miserable black metal. 45, forgotten tomb with songs to leave. Again, leaning into the DSBM side of things. Although really before that kind of genre came into its own. Forgotten Tomb, there's a guy lying in the bath on the album cover, which is obscured by the logo, and he's not looking too clever, is he? Bless him. So that gives you an idea of what this sounds like. It's DSBM without that like desperately pitiful sound to it. It's quite focused and has quite strong production, especially on the drums for that kind of stuff. It's really like laser focused for that stuff, and it has quite long songs, not too long, but they have really good passages in them. I'm really not doing this justice. My brain is a bit fucked, I think, from trying to think of all these black metal bands. But yeah, this is great as far as DSBM related stuff goes. This is brilliant. Number 46, Gatemaster, In Pursuit of Forbidden Knowledge. Gatemaster is one of the Ryan brothers. I forget which. I think it's Paul Ryan, who was on the original Cradle of Filth album from... what's it called? What the fuck's the first Cradle album called? Drawing a blank. My head is definitely gone. I think I need a break. The Principle of Evil Made Flesh. So yeah, Paul Ryan was one of the original members of Cradle of Filth. He quickly left Cradle of Filth several years after their inception, and he became like a booking artist or something. He became like he basically worked in the industry, but he wasn't a musician as such that was active in the industry until Gatemaster. The epic return of Paul Ryan as a black metal composer in pursuit of forbidden knowledge, is a really nice mix actually of dungeon synth and of black metal. There's some really nice compositions of black metal, and then really atmospheric, quite heavy dungeon synth, emphasis on the dungeon. There's quite a few Gatemaster releases now, so check them all out. Gatemaster, fucking brilliant. 47, Gehenna with First Spell. Not a fan of later Gehenna. The First Spell and the demo and second spell, mwah, chef's kiss up in this bitch. This shit fucking rules. Proper old, misty, distorted, harrowing black metal with that occult edge to it. Fucking fantastic. Can't go wrong. Get it down your Gregory. Number 48, Vothana, whatever the fuck you call it. The Vietnamese black metal band. Action Now, Assured Future is the English translation of the title of this album. Vothana have, whether you like them or lump them, people see them as quite sketchy, which is fully understandable. If you don't like that, then I completely understand. But there is no arguing that this band are fucking completely unique. I mean, they started to have some clones now, but Vothana has such a fucking unique sound, and that I can't really explain it really how he kind of does things. But Action Now, Assured Future is probably one of the best examples of that. There's a song on here, I think it's the third song in, and it just gets stuck in this loop, and I was just like, this is just absolutely fucking outstanding. This is just incredible. My favorite Vothana album before this was Commando, and I've not heard them all because there's so many albums and demos and what have you. But yeah, Action Now, Assured Future is just astounding. If you're looking for something that is entirely unique in the world of black metal, then look no further than Vothana. But bear in mind, they are a bit sketchy. That may put some people off. Number 49, a band that is absolutely not sketchy, Guds Forlat. Probably saying that wrong. Friendship, Love and War. Hell of a fucking album name that is. Yeah, really cold production. Absolutely fucking love the album art. Beautiful songwriting on this. It's very waspy and cold and quite kind of like scrapes on the inside of your skull, that kind of black metal. But yeah, really good. Really, really, really good shit. You could probably tell I'm running out of ways to describe things. Number 50, slightly sketchy, Hate Forest with Purity. Hate Forest being a side project of Drutke, so we won't dwell on who those guys are and what they're about, but Purity is a mix of progressive black metal kind of tropes as well as more heavy bits from death metal. So you've got them, Hate Forest, especially on the early stuff and on Purity and on the demos, they have that the kind of low vocals. Not a big fan of the later Hate Forest stuff, but this is really fucking good. Drums are just uncompromising, really fast, fucking brilliant. Speaking about uncompromising, number 51, Inquisition, into the infernal regions of the ancient cult. Whatever the fuck happened with Inquisition, I don't fucking know. I'm talking purely about the music here. The first album is, wow, this is a fucking unique sound. Again, if you are a fan of the frog vocals, the vocals that like Avat from Immortal or Rob Darkin from Graveland, then I'd imagine you'd like Inquisition. They've got that like croaky kind of voice. Not only that, the power that these guys have as a two-piece is just fucking nuts, really. It's a shame what happened, because Inquisition, they had some good shit, and it would be remiss of me not to mention it here, at least in passing, but let's not dwell too much on that. Number 52, Cavum with Nature. It's a Cavum, Norwegian band. Apparently they're a sketchy band, so apologies for putting more sketchy shit in here. But Cavum's 2 albums, Nature and Culture, I think the other one's called. Man, these are fucking great. These are so good. If you want like atmospheric kind of black metal, it's not too atmospheric, it's not lost in the weeds, still has a purpose. You can't fucking beat this. I think Cavum is some of the best black metal I've heard in recent times, and that's not an over-exaggeration. So yeah, that's why it's here. Number 53, Kekt Arak, probably saying that wrong. Pale Swordsman. These guys blew up. This guy blew up, didn't he? I mean, I'm not throw hate. I'm glad he blew up because his shit was great, and I think the album Pale Swordsman is the best kind of example of that. I think, is he from Ukraine? Is Ukrainian? I don't know, but yeah, who gives a fuck? This shit is outstanding, very sorrowful. Again, kind of adjacent to DSBM without really getting into the marrow of that genre, I suppose. It just borrows elements from it. You've probably seen this album cover because it gets memed a lot. But honestly, it's a really great, really enjoyable listen for fans of black metal music, in my opinion. But that's just me. 53, Keys to the Astral Gates and the Mystic Doors 1. Now, this is a very, 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 very damp kind of sounding a release. Revenant Marquee called, they want their shtick back. This is one of those like obscured in fuzz. No one really knows what the fuck's going on because it's it's all obscured behind the production, but you can barely make through some, oh, that's a nice riff. And then the vocals like, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to formulate something going on. And then it hits, it clicks, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand this now. Through the darkness and the fog and the cobwebs, it starts to reveal itself. And you get, like, on repeat listens, I would say, more rewarding kind of elements come out. The more you listen to it, the more you kind of get into it. Easy to write it off as just going, it's like that shit that Go to War X just pumps out. It's just fucking bullshit. It's just fuzzy fucking tourist fucking lo-fi bollocks. And I understand why people think that, but I think this was a good one. They have a second EP called 2, which is as good, I would say. And also, I think they got one of the coolest fucking logos I've seen in a very long time. Number 55, Lamp of Memur. Is that how you say that? Lamp of Memur. Here of ecliptical romanticism. Hard to pick a Lamp of Memur album to go on this list, really, because there's quite a lot of them which are really good. I picked this one because it's the one I come back to the most, if not one of the splits. Like I said, I just mentioned Revenant Marquee. Lamp of Memur has a split with Revenant Marquee, which is worth checking out. But yeah, here of ecliptical romanticism, I think this guy's really doing a good thing to keep North American. I think are they in Canada? Lamp of Memur, that part of the fucking world. I don't know. Right, they're over there. They're keeping that kind of world alive, which is great. And I don't know. People kind of shit on these guys a bit. I don't see what the problem is personally. I think it's really well composed. Obviously, there's quite a wide range of influences here. But I think it pulls together quite nicely and makes a really, really interesting black metal experience. Anyway, as I've said multiple times throughout this video, I need to step on the gas. Gas. Number 56, Life Lover with Pulver. Now, I've got an entire video about Life Lover and how much I think Life Lover are amazing. They're a DSBM band, which isn't something that really appeals to me all that much. There are bands in the genre that I enjoy, but generally, I'm not a huge fan of DSBM. Life Lover is an exception. Pulver is their first album, and it's not because it's really good DSBM is the reason why I like this. I like it because it there's nothing else that really sounds like Pulver, in my opinion. I don't know if it was because of how and when I first heard this album when I was quite young. And I never really experienced anything like this, but it's such a drab and depressing and also rather just bizarre kind of listen. And it's got this, like, you know, it doesn't hide what it's built out of. It's got this terrible drum machine, and you know, and the production is you know, it's basically demo quality. Let's be honest, but it's got more. I don't want to say an honesty, but it's got this just like underpinning. Yeah, I guess emotional honesty, which sounds really fucking stupid when I say it like that, because it doesn't sound in words anything like what I'm trying to convey. But it's worryingly depressive, yet also quite brutal at the same time. The vocal performances are just astounding, and on top of that, the music is so tired and drab sounding, and there's such a contradictory nature between the extremely harsh strained vocals that are often peak the microphone, or you know, the guy's voice is cracking like fuck, and then you've got the music behind it. It's kind of just like la, 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 I can't be asked, you know what I mean? Like, it's just tired with life, and it's such a fucking, to me, it was such a strange combination that it really stood out to me. And I've been a fan of Life Lover all throughout their career, all through their different albums, but this one stands unique in my opinion, and it makes the list because I think it's fucking outstanding. In number 57, we've got Mare with Spheres Like Death. Now, Mare were a recent discovery for me. I don't know how long this project's been around for, but this was just a random listen, and one I'm glad that I did, to be honest. I can't remember where the fuck I picked this up, but yeah, this is spookier than a granite coffin filled with hallucinogenic toads. Spheres Like Death is a well-produced, crystal clear slice of sinister black metal. There's some excellent riffery afoot here, more unusual or explorative actually than a lot of stuff, but it's not too angular, weird, or dissonant. You only get like experimental music and it's just like, oh yeah, that's a fucking arty-farty who can make this riff. It's not like that, but it is not quite as usual as a lot of black metal, which it makes for some interesting compositions. And the snare cuts through the mix like friggin' rifle rounds, like bang, bang. It's, yeah, great composition, and I need to check out more from Mare, which I've never heard of before, but this really stuck with me. Really enjoyed it. It's really good. And what's up next then? Let's have a look. What's next in line? It is, this will be a good one, number 58, Mayhem with Grand Declaration of War. This might ruffle some feathers. Purely because, you know, a lot of people don't like this one. I love it. It's my favorite Mayhem album. Sue me, all right? Chimera and Wolf's Lair Abyss kind of come close, but Grand Declaration of War takes the cake for me. That's not to say that, you know, The Mysteries isn't good. You know, I just prefer, if I come to Mayhem, I go to Grand Declaration of War. I'm not really sure why. They've re-released this, they've remastered it and re-released it. Basically, it's a completely different album. You know, this used to be a trend of black metal artists revisiting their albums that sound like they were recorded in a time and a place. And then they were reinterpreting them with a more modern sound. And the Grand Declaration of War, re-recording, remix, whatever the fuck it was, it doesn't work, in my opinion. You need that cold, sterile sound for it to really, you know, actually have an effect. Is this thing too obtuse? Probably. Is it up its own arse? Almost definitely. But it still makes for a very interesting release. I think Hellhammer's drums are fucking incredible, even with the dreadful triggers on them. The riffs, I was just talking about angular dissonant riffs, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is just a riff salad of like, what in the fuck? How annoying can we make these riffs? The album. But then you got Maniac on top. Maniac is one of my favorite black metal vocalists. You know, even you know, from the Death Crush days through to this more experimental stuff. I wasn't really that fussed on Zenzach, the project he did with his, I want to say his wife. Was it his wife? But he did that. I wasn't super into that. But this is Time in Mayhem in the 90s. Yeah, chef's kiss. Fuck it, perfect. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, what the fuck are you smoking to think that this is better than all the other stuff? But, you know, it is what it is. Number 59, Morbus with a Diabolical Rites and Necro-Sex Lust. There's a freaking name for an album if I've ever heard of it. Look at that album sleeve. Probably going to get me demonetized. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, there's something about this. It's got like an ejection of raw bestial energy. I suppose that was the wrong word, because not bestial as in like, you know, war metal, but bestial as in like deeply perverse sexual energy. It's just what the fucking corpse paint wearing doctor ordered this morning. So, you know, it's exactly what I need to wake me up and get me going. Yeah, this fucking rules, to be honest. So, the production is necrotic at the best of times, but it's got quite a present low end, something that's always a treat to hear, because in black metal the production is usually more tinnitus inducing, fucking ear scraping kind of thin production, right? Composition wise, the tracks compiled on this particular album by Morbus, they're very, how can I say, I don't know, they're very excitable. They're all over the place. And it's way better than I would have thought it would have been. It was a random fucking listen for me, and I was like, yeah, this is fucking great. I'd love to buy this. Like, it's a CDR, so it's probably pretty friggin' limited, but if I ever see this out and about, I'll definitely get myself a copy of it. Or out and about on fucking distros and shit. I'm not going to see this in the record shop down the road. This project is done, I think, as far as I know. So yeah, shame, but Morbus, yeah, great shit. Let's move on, because I'm taking fucking ages on this. Number 60. How the fuck do you say this? Mor Erysia. Mor Erysia. I don't know. I think this is Welsh. It's a Welsh project. I don't know if that name is Welsh, that the top word looks Welsh, the bottom one doesn't, but what do I know? I'm a man without country. Don't speak my own language. It's a fucking sad state of affairs. But this is a one-man project from Wales. Very prolific in regards to the amount of Bandcamp releases it's got, but it tends to fly under the radar, really. It's from the Swansea area, which is a very beautiful, especially the Gower, very beautiful fucking natural, outstanding. Do you know what I'm fucking saying? It's a great big, sticky out bit at the bottom of Wales, which is really, really nice. Full of poshos, but it's a nice part of the world. There's a bunch of stuff from this project, like I said, but once I gave this album a full listen all the way through, it was the one I fell in love with, to be honest. It seems that like I said, both the history, and there's a lot of history in the Gower, actually. There's that fucking cave. There's a few caves and shit down there that are very, very important. I forget off the top of my head, but it's the history of such a ancient part of the world, and the beautiful landscapes as well of that part of the world seem to have inspired multiple tracks of the dense atmospheric black metal that we get here. Like there's there's songs like about Worm's Head and so on and so forth, which is a real life place. It seems to be stylized here into a different spelling, but it's a fun one. It's a good one, and maybe I had a soft spot for this because this is an area that isn't that far from me, from where I live, and I'm very familiar with it. So I enjoyed black metal that kind of had a base on that. And the album cover too is a picture of one of the long estuary kind of bays which goes out. I forget the name of it, so I'm fucking useless. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Maybe it's not for everybody, but it's definitely worth checking out, in my opinion. So the next one then is 61 is Mrtva of Vod, probably saying that wrong because I'm a friggin' idiot, and this is Flora of Evil. So I believe this is a side project, is it? Let me double check this before I make a fool out of myself. No, yes, I am getting confused. There's a Kektarak side project called Felvum, and in that Felvum side project of Kektarak, there's two members. There's the guy from Kektarak, and there's another dude. This dude's project of his own is Mrtva Vod. Flora of Evil is a stunning slice of black metal, to be honest with you. I can't remember who recommended me this, but it was fucking great and I really enjoyed it. It balances lo-fi and dense atmosphere perfectly in a cauldron of misty anguish. And it does in 5 tracks, under 20 minutes, it does in that time what many black metal artists failed to do over entire discographies. So that is high praise from me for that. And I need to check out more from this project because I don't know if it has all that much. It's got there's an album which I haven't heard, and I don't know if they're gonna do any more. I think it might be done. It's been a few years now since they've released anything, so we shall see. Time will tell what happens with this one. It's an interesting one all the same. Number 62, Nachtlich, or Nachtlich is Satanas Solam Initium Est. Now this again, I got this out of a zine somewhere as a recommendation, and it's very intense, dusty, archaic sounding black metal, that's it, that's what it is. One of the guys in this band is in the gore grind band Morgtar, I think. which is fucking excellent, by the way, but outside of the scope of this video. So I love how Satana Solum Initium Est juxtaposes between lengthy keyboard pieces, not in the Cradle of Filth kind of way. These feel more in line with horror movies and are buried beneath layers of dust on an old dusty tape recorder. So it mixes that kind of lengthy keyboard kind of work with intense and raw black metal. Things aren't as raw as to the point of being unlistenable or becoming even like that I said just now about the tinnitus-inducing, dreaded fucking wasps in a jar kind of production black metal. But proceedings here are definitely rough around the edges, but it's cool shit all the same. This fucking great. I also think that Nacht Lich also have one of the coolest logos in black metal. Like the whole thing seems to be like descending into a chaos of candelabra and fucking spikes and friggin' fucking spiders webs and shit. So that's fucking black metal is fucking my book. So 10 out of 10 from me. Number 63, Nagelfar with Jagd. Again, fuck knows how you say this. I am not up on ting when it comes to pronouncing half this shit. But this is not to be confused with the band that spells their name Nagelfar. This is spelled Nagelfar. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Probably fucking saying that wrong, but it doesn't matter. This is fucking great. This is a promotional demo from back in day, one of the early releases of this band. Again, another random listen for me, probably like 10, 15 years ago. Fell in love with like the misty kind of, again, more long form kind of, atmospheric. It's not like pagan black metal. They tend to have longer, more long form songs that have keyboards and stuff on them, and maybe some traditional folk instruments. It's not quite as far as that. It's not like mid-career Graveland, but it's got that kind of long form approach to it. And there's only a small number of songs, but they are very, very long and very captivating. And this was one of the few bands that really kind of got me into that kind of music, I think, because I don't know, as a rule, don't really have that kind of appeal for that kind of atmospheric black metal. But bands like Nagelfar with Jagd kind of showed me that this stuff can be fucking great. Also, as I wrote on Rate Your Music in the comment section a while ago, it was doesn't that art kind of look suspiciously like Burzum self-titled? I don't know if it's like a tree or something I'm looking at, but the little part of it kind of looks like it could be it could be like the dude. You know what I'm saying? Very strange. Kind of looks like it. I don't know. Up to you. You decide. You be the fucking judge on that one. Number 64, Necromantia with Ancient Pride. I'm not an expert on Necromantia by any stretch. I like some of their albums, and some of them are pretty shit. So, like, for example, Scarlet Evil, Witch in Black, obviously, good album. Then later on, stuff like The Sound of Lucifer Storm in Heaven, bit more of an acquired taste, in my opinion. But the one I like the most out of all of what I've heard so far is the EP Ancient Pride. So it's I don't know. It's just the way that the bass guitars are used, I suppose. Like when you're doing something as unusual as that, in regards to using one as like an actual bass and then the rest as a lead, then it can go fucking bit fucky, can't it? It's either going to sound great or it's going to sound like complete shit. And I think that's why Necromantia is so hit and miss. But with Ancient Pride, it really hits it on the head. And again, it's only 20 minutes long. So even if that interesting doubled up bass sound starts to grate on your nerves, it's only 20 minutes long, and it's a good way to experience the magic of Necromantia, as it were, before it gets a bit old, maybe. So that's an interesting one, and I didn't want to put a full length in here. I could have put Scarlet Hour Witch in Black in here, but I prefer Ancient Pride. So yeah, even though it's an EP, whatever, it's fucking great. It's in the list. Number 65. This is a more obscure pick. Obsequial Scepter, Utterance of Deathly Murmurs. And this is more towards the war metal kind of end of the spectrum. From Cyprus, actually. It's a blasphemous, cavernous war metal that really hits the spot. Some fucking amazing drumming on this. Expect intense flurries of chaotic energy in the form of blurs of unfathomable guitars, and impaling percussion barrage, and a hydra-headed vocal approach akin to the violent and terrifying exorcism of multiple demonic spirits from a singular host. And how fucking cool is that logo as well? It kind of looks like one of these new old school death metal bands that were formed in 2021. It kind of looks like a logo that they would have had, but you know, like I don't know. I got my names is all the fucking Miss Akarujo kind of fucking, you know, $20 spin, fucking head split records for the kind of logo. Anyway, looks fucking great though, doesn't it? 10 out of 10 logo. Yeah, worth a go. If you've not seen, you know, you think you've heard all the good war metal, check this one out. It's a bit off the beaten path. Well worth listening to, well worth checking out. So let's move swiftly onwards then to number 66. Old Man's Child, Ill-Natured Spiritual Invasion. Not the biggest fan of all the Old Man's Child stuff, but this album is just fucking fantastic. The incredible symphonic metal sound of Ill-Natured Spiritual Invasion is like Dimmu Borgir's Enthroned Darkness Triumphant, but on steroids, boasting a fatter production job, slightly less twinkly song structures, and a drum sound that's nothing short of an absolute privilege to listen to. I mean, the fact that we as humans can make sounds that are as fucking awesome as this, it brings a tear to my eye. No, it doesn't. I'm fucking with you, but it's really good. Yeah, so like cross Dismember with Dimmu Borgir and you get Old Man's Child. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, right? Chances are if you're this far into a list about black metal and you're not bored, chances are you've already heard Old Man's Child in some capacity. Oh, and that fucking art as well. Fantastic. Yeah, for those who are into the more melodic side of things, well worth checking this one out for sure if you've somehow let it pass you by. Number 67, this one's going to probably fuck off some of the purists. Old Nick with The Truest Spell. Probably contender for one of the worst album sleeves in this in this list. I think projects like Old Nick should always be taken with a pinch of salt, but it is astounding how good how good this fucking record actually is. And that goes for a lot of Old Nick stuff, actually. But this one was one recently that really caught my attention. The songwriting is fantastic. It is. And some of the ways these songs turn out, even though they're like really badly put together, it just sounds incredible. And it's fantastic riffs and some really interesting and inventive synth passages just coming out of nowhere, just blindsiding you. So yeah, it's well worth checking out if you've got a little bit of a sense of humor, you don't mind a bit of irony in your black metal. What I'm trying to say essentially is there's a lot of talent here and a real knack for writing catchy and engaging music. It's just that it's intentionally buried beneath a wall of grime and bad production, which again, interesting idea, but it's a really good, it's really well executed. Yeah, I think the way that it's executed is part of the charm rather than a defect. But this may not be, again, may not be for absolutely everyone. There's probably black metal purists out there which are thinking, you're a fucking poser or whatever for putting this shit in the list. Well, I don't give a fuck. Number 68, Sketchy Band Alert. Probably one of the most well-known sketchy bands, and hopefully should carry me some favour with the true black metal fans. The first Peste Noir album. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce this title. It's not going to happen, all right? So it's going to go so tits up that if I could get through the whole title, then I would try it just for the lulz. But I can't get through the title. I'm looking at it now, and it's. I just want to cry. I can't say that out loud. But what I'm talking about in this entry for number 68 is Peste Noir's first album, which is by far the best Peste Noir album, I think. There's moments of genius later on, but a lot of it is lost on me. I'll be honest with you, and maybe I'm not intelligent or racist or both enough to understand what the fuck's going on. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. The later Peste Noir stuff is totally lost on me. It does nothing for me, really. It's interesting, but none of it is as good as this. This is a slightly different kind of vibe to the rest of their discography. And quite famously, this had Niege from Alcest on this. He was in the band for a while. So, much to, that seems to be haunting him for the rest of his life. But this is just incredible. This is absolutely incredible. The production is just warm and beautiful. It's got a fantastic blend of rawness and being totally audible. And the vocals are just out of this world. They're like some of the best black metal vocals I have ever heard. It's up there with Bethlehem. Like, I really like that Bethlehem vocalist, as we had him earlier in the list. But these are some of the best. I'm not sure if it's Famine or Niege that's doing the vocals here. But yeah, it's great. The riffing is fantastic. The drumming is on point. It's fucking great. This is absolutely fucking fantastic. And I think if you're not going to listen to this because of the reputation around Pesto Noir, the guy has got some shit going on for sure. But this album, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're a fan of black metal and you've not heard this. I'm not saying to go out and buy the double vinyl and support the artist. You know, if you feel strongly about those kind of things, and don't do that, obviously. I'm saying you should listen to it. It's incredible. It's one of the best black metal, one of my favourite black metal releases, actually, ever, considering I don't really like the rest of the Pesto Noir stuff. There we go. I'm a fucking Pesto Noir tourist. I only like the first album, boys. Number 69, this sweet special spot, goes to another sketchy band, Goat Moon with the Varyot. Again, you think like, oh, here we go, another fucking sketchy black metal band, but man, some of this shit is fucking good. Do you know what I mean? It is really good. And if you want to look past some of the lyrics, again, not great vibes in some of these. I think more the nastier kind of stuff comes earlier. But and again, I think most people, when talking about Goat Moon, would probably pick Finish Steel Storm as the the album that's the best album from Goat Moon. But personally, I prefer Varyot. Like I think J-Dog does as well. So that puts me in league with him, which is either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, this I wouldn't say this refines Goat Moon's sound. I think it just changes a little bit, to be honest. Personally, I think the album cover and the Goat Moon logo in general is just fucking terrible. Look at that thing. It looks fucking awful. Like it's something I would have drawn in GCSE art. Could it be any more brown? But yeah, don't let the fucking album cover put you off. This is great. It's what I was saying earlier about that kind of more long-form pagan black metal stuff that has a little bit of a softer sound. So you get the harsh kind of black metal underpinning things, and then there's a reliance on, folk instruments, traditional instrumentation, more simpler, almost punk-orientated kind of song structures. So it's basically, it takes those like longer-form pagan black metal kind of vibes and condenses them into 3, 4, 5 minute songs, which are much more digestible and much more enjoyable actually than a lot of the more longer form stuff. When you just need that hit of like catchy fucking black metal with good melody, nice rawness to it, and excellent fucking vocals, you cannot go wrong with Varyot. NS bullshit aside, fucking great album. Like what happens later in Goat Moon, not really all that interested in. The stuff before is quite legendary, but it's also quite raw. This is the perfect sweet spot, in my opinion. So if you're gonna listen to for Goat Moon, then yeah, start with this one. Fucking right. I think it's the best one by far. Number 70, Ragnarok, A Rising Realm. Ragnarok are a hit and miss band. They have a lot of stuff that just all sounds the same. But again, they hit this kind of sweet spot with 1987's A Rising Realm. Again, amazing fucking album cover. First time I saw that, I was like, well, I have to listen to this. Look at it. It's fucking fantastic. Came for the album art, stayed for the cold yet precise and slightly repetitive black metal. A Rising Realm sounds so brittle, it feels like the entire thing could collapse into thousands of icy shards at any given moment in time. Despite this, it has a rock-solid backbone of tight drumming and deep bass, and that really is what holds this whole thing together, to be honest. And it allows the guitar riffs to weave through like frozen tapestries, accompanied by the odd bit of frosty keyboard work and roars of evil vocal outpourings. But these guys are from Norway, and I feel like I think Shagrath from Dimmu Borgir did session keyboards on this. And I've never fucking heard of this band before. I must have been living under a rock. It's only in the last year that I've become familiar with Ragnarok, and like I said, a lot of this stuff is a bit mid. Let's be honest, but this one is a banger. I wouldn't mind buying this on CD. I like this one a lot. Anyway, moving on. In the interests of time, let's get going. Number 71, Revenge, with Triumph, Genocide, Revenge. In fact, it could have put any fucking Revenge album. I love them all equally, even though they do vary slightly in the ratio of like heaviness to speed. And some albums are cleaner than others. And I almost put Attack, Blood, Revenge here, but I thought, fuck it, let's just put the first album, Triumph, Genocide, Antichrist. When it comes down to it, even though war metal is now another genre which is pretty saturated, there is little that can compare to the sheer absolute fucking chaos that is Revenge. Like album after album, song after song, Revenge are relentless in their delivery of war in black metal. You cannot fucking Nothing. What was the advert? What was the fucking product that was being advertised on the television? And there was the tagline was "Accept no imitations." I can't remember what the advert was for, but accept no imitations. That's what I think of when I see Revenge. I want to see Revenge's logo, and underneath, accept no imitations. Accept no imitations. I also love the Revenge live, love, laugh meme, which is knocking about. That's fucking brilliant. But yeah, some of the most hateful and just savage stuff ever. I had my Spotify on random in my car with my family. It's my partner and my 2 children, and Revenge came on. I can't remember the song, but we made it about 45 seconds into a song of just stunned silence when my partner turned to me and said, "You listen to some shit." And yeah, it was Revenge. Revenge is... I need a Revenge t-shirt in my life. I feel a Revenge t-shirt coming on. These guys are fucking fantastic. In the interest of time, moving swiftly along. Number 72, Samael with Ceremony of Opposites. Now, my introduction to Samael was Ugra Karma. Is that the name of the album? No, that was the name of this. That was the song. It was off the Eternal album in '99. And I ended up going back and checking out the earlier Samael stuff and working forward. They got a lot of albums like in the last 20 years, in the new millennium and so on, that I'm not familiar with. But the early 90s Samael stuff is fucking fantastic. And Ceremony of Opposites is one of my favorites because... I'll tell you for why. Again, this is a recurring theme with why I pick albums for this list, why I picked certain albums rather, is because this is a perfect mix of what they would do before and what they did after. So it's raw black metal with like this really fucking, how can I say, underpinning spine of industrial music. It's a glorious composition of darkness and wonder. And by this point in their career, I think this is album number 3, their black metal had developed to... It was taking on anything but a typical form. So it had coherent, excellent production, but obviously not sterile, but, you know, more than most black metal bands. And, you know, you can really feel that industrial element, like I said, you know. Don't go into it expecting it to sound like The Covenant or whatever, and, you know, this is fucking great. This is great. It's well worth your time. It's amazing. I'm running out of ways to describe it because I'm just exhausted this far into this list. Even though I took a big break at number 55, I was still exhausted talking about this much black metal and black metal adjacent stuff. Number 73, Sarcophago with Inrio, I-N-R-I. I'm going to keep this one brief. It's really old. It is like one of the most important metal records of all time, regardless of genre. You know, it's up there with the Battery, and then the Venom, black metal, Sarcophago, INRI. It's just absolutely raw and compromising. Is it punk? Is it grindcore? Is it proto-death metal? Is it proto-black? Who knows? It's fucking everything. And whilst I do enjoy everything else that Sarcophago have done, this is by far the most influential and the most important release that they have done. And if you've not heard this one... stop the video, go and listen to it, and then come back, because, you know, it's that important. Really, there's few albums that are as important as this, I suppose. So I'm just like, again, maybe I should have put this at the start, because you're thinking like, well, how are you this far into a list and you haven't mentioned this one there? This probably should have gone at the start. So yeah, essential, get it done, listen to it, getting down, hit and run. Got about 50 guns. Number 74, Satanic Warmaster with Nachtzehre. Again, don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably my favourite Satanic Warmaster album. I had a bit of a dilemma over what was my favourite, because some of them are not that good, in my opinion. Like, I love Strength and Honor. I liked Karelian Satanic Madness. You know what I mean? You know the one I want about. But yeah, Nachtzehre takes the cake for me. It is a stellar effort from Satanic Warmaster. Again, the art is it's a bit shit, but don't be put off by the the werewolf and his luscious curls. Just go straight to the black metal. I'm not sure what it is about this one that hits so well compared to some of the others, but it does. As much as I appreciate, like I said, the earlier Satanic Warmaster stuff, and the latest stuff is pretty good too. Like the latest one was pretty fun, but it didn't really there's nothing memorable about it. Like, I listened to it, I put it on, it's really nice, and I turn it off and I'm like, well, that was good, let's listen to something else. I've not enjoyed a Satanic Warmaster album as much as this one. I think the exception being Strength and Honor. The production feels quite lo-fi. Again, there's the comparison, there's the parallel to Strength and Honor. A lot of Satanic Warmaster stuff is quite well produced, in all fairness. But I think it may be the drums more than anything here that make it sound how it does. So the hat trick is 3 songs back to back. I don't remember what they are there. Warmaster Returns, One Shining Star, and Bestial Darkness. Boom, boom, boom. One after the other. Just fucking unbeatable winning streak of black metal that is. Fucking good shit. Again, people consider Satanic Warmaster to be sketchy. Personally, I think Satanic Warmaster is just an edgelord. Like, this guy likes to play Castlevania and read manga and shit. Like, yeah, he's not a Nazi. Just might have said a few silly things when he was a bit younger in the sake of being an edgelord. I also noticed a lot of backpedaling as well from Satanic Warmaster or Lowry, really, in general, rather than the band. Just, I think Satanic Warmaster would be a lot bigger if they didn't have the reputation they had, and I think he knows that too. And I think that as probably one of the rare cases where that's hurt a band, whereas like a lot of bands have used the NS thing to purposefully remain like true and cult and underground and completely unmarketable in any way possible. But I think with Satanic Warmaster, just as a little thought here, I know it's got nothing to do with the list, but I think that's backfired. And I think that's hurt his financial prospects long term, because like Satanic Warmaster, Werewolf Records, and he's somehow related to Steelfest and all of that. I think it may have backfired a bit. So he's tried to like backtrack and distance himself from the NS kind of part of black metal, and I don't think it's working. But there we go. That's another story for another time. But number 75 is Psy's Scorn Defeat, the first Psy album. It is the first one, right? Yeah, it is. I was very late to the party with Psy. I saw them live in 2010 at a French music festival, Hellfest. Before that, my only real experience with Psy was seeing their albums advertised inside my copy of Principle of Evil Made Flesh by Cradle of Filth, because they were on the same label, I think, initially. And anyway, I wasn't blown out of the park at all by their live performance. They had like 3 members on stage, and all the orchestral stuff was just fucking piped through the PA. They were doing that one album in like 2011, 2012. They were touring, I can't remember the name of the album, but they were touring it, and it's basically an orchestra's worth of instruments. They were just fucking piped through the PA, and it sounded fucking terrible. And I was just like, yeah, this band is shit. So I don't know what it was that gave me the idea to go back and start from the beginning, but I'm glad I fucking did, because Scorn Defeat is intense. There's a lot to unpack here, and it gets more and more difficult as the albums go on, I find. But focusing on Scorn Defeat for a minute, thankfully, this is a task which you can do here, and it's almost fun, because there's this old school kind of production, the early 90s kind of production, but it's also very clear. Headphones on, eyes closed, trying to make sense of everything that Psy is doing on this record. It's kind of like a black and thrash kind of approach. Dare I say it? I'm talking on the backbone of like Venom and Bathory and stuff like that, and even a little bit of Possessed even. But then comes this weird fucking layer of shit, this kooky fucking twists and turns that are going on, and not to mention there's like this stunning catch you off guard fucking keyboard parts just flying out everywhere, and the vocals are bizarre, and yeah, fucking great shit, man. Some wild shit is the old Scorn Defeat. Highly recommended, hence the inclusion on this list. Let's keep moving. Fucking hell, we're 3/4 the way through this fucking list. This turned out to be a lot longer than I thought it would be. In fact, if you add up every time I say this is taking longer than I thought, we could probably shave 5 minutes off this fucking thing. But anyway, on to the next one. Number 76 then, Spectral Wound with A Diabolical First, one of the darlings of the slight black metal revival that we had since post-lockdown. Yeah, these guys play nice, clean, straightforward, blasting, fucking incredible black metal. Love the aesthetic that's going on here. I really love like the black metal that they've got on display. What was the name of the first song of this album? I forgot what the fuck it was. I remember it just blew me away, and I was like, oh, this shit fucking rules. Like, someone in my office recommended this to me, and I was like, oh, okay. Checked it on. Boom. Fucking brilliant. They've got a new album, or a more recent album than this, that I haven't heard yet. Need to check this out. But yeah, as far as more modern black metal goes, Spectral Wound is a good one to start with, I think. The exact opposite of modern black metal. Number 77, Thorns with Tronderdun. Now, I really like the Thorns debut album. the really industrial sounding one. They got like fucking door opening sounds from Doom and shit in the background of like this cold ass fucking black metal riffing. But yeah, I'm not talking about that album. I'm talking about the Thorns demo. A bit more ghastly underground, proper 90s Norwegian sound going on here. Considering how big of a name Thorns are in the evolution and the history of black metal, in part due to the involvement of the Thorns single member with the event that, that one thing with the stabbing in the head, the whole Varg and Euronymous thing. Dude from Thorns was involved in that. He was the one that was driving Varg across the country to do it. So Thorns has a very a very prominent name in the history of metal and black metal due to that, but their music's quite low key and they didn't really do all that much. But this early Thorns demo or EP or whatever is it's one of the best kind of things to come out of Norway, I think, in those early days. And they really are a quality over quantity band and didn't do all that much, but the stuff they did do was fucking fantastic, and that's why it's here on the list. Number 78, another newer band, Ungefell, with Mythen, Maren, Pestilence, probably saying that wrong. This is an interesting one. When I first heard this, I didn't like it, and then I re-listened to it, and I really enjoyed it. And then for some reason, I decided to buy it. I was buying a bunch of shit on eBay, and this was like, the seller also had this. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll buy this. I don't really buy all that much vinyl. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. But I've got it, and I played it a few times on the old deck, and it's kind of grown on me. So this one was a gradual grower, as it were. It's definitely got an interesting sound. Again, they're more left-leaning, I would say, or definitely openly anti-fascist, as declared so in their the liner notes of their album, So, moving on. 79, Vampirska. Tortuous omens of blood and candle wax. That sounds like a good night in, doesn't it? I don't know anything about this project other than it was a random listing and it fucking rules. It's a bit derivative, but I still really enjoy it. It's 45 minutes of, proper fucking lo-fi raw black metal. The cover art is probably a little bit on the nose in regards to the references that it's relating to here. But the sound is fairly warm, all things considered, and it's also quite cacophonous and necro, as I just said. But this is no joke, right? Epics, there's songs like fucking A Pale Face, Eclipsed by Shadows, and the oddly titled closing track, Feasting on the Dried Blood of Majesties, which is, the fuck is that about? Yeah, those two tracks alone make this thing, they cement it for me. It's fucking good. Vampirska. I don't know if they have any other shit. I haven't really, actually, let me have a quick look. They got fucking loads of albums, actually. Need to get on and check out some more of this stuff. But yeah, this is their debut from 2020. Really good shit. Really good lo-fi black metal. I really enjoy it. Hence its inclusion on the list. Number 80, Veles, Night on the Bear Mountain. not Bear Mountain. Bear Mountain. A classic. A Polish classic. Very shaky, very ramshackle. But yeah, it's part of that charm, that early Graveland kind of charm. Also, Rob Darkin is involved in this, to my knowledge. Yeah, Night on Bear Mountain, it ticks all the right boxes, and those turning over rocks and having heard all of the genre's greats will, once going slightly bit further off the beaten path, will come across this blackened gem, as I did, and as many have before and after me. It's fucking great. You think, why isn't this up there with the others? And you realise, oh wait, it's related to Rob Darkin from Graveland and some other sketchy. Veles went very sketchy a bit later on in their career, but this one's pretty good. Yeah, as I may have said before, the acoustic passages here feels really bright and like really well made, and then the black metal comes in and it's like someone's turned the fucking volume knob all the way down, and it's like, well, why does the black metal sound so fucking drab and disinteresting compared to the acoustic stuff? And you end up dicking around with the fucking volume all the time, and it's like, well, this is a terrible this is a terrible mix. But yeah, it's a good fucking record, and Velis are an interesting band in of their own, but this is a good starting point if you're interested in that kind of shit. Well worth checking out. I how many times have I said well worth checking out in this fucking video? 81 Windy with 1184, is that the name of this fucking thing? Again, beautiful logo, beautiful fucking cover art. The only thing letting it down is that fucking bog standard spooky font that they've put the fucking number 1184 in. It's the first Winter album I've heard. I think it's the only one I've heard. Need to sort that out. I have to say it was a very beautiful experience. Loved this every second of it. The riffs are just, the riffs on this are just fucking beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful in every single possible way. It's black metal, but it's the kind of black metal that draws you in via its cover painting, you know, majestic, sprawling fucking tracks with a far more, dare I say, positive vibe than you'd initially expect. The opening track, Toadswalzer, the song The Spirit Lord, and what's the last song? What the fuck's that? Journey to the End, which really fucking blew my wig off, that did. And the metal falls away, and it descends into this like trippy, like synthy part. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. Yeah, fucking great album this one is. Well worth gooselating in the constabulary. 82, Woden's Throne, boys. Whoa, Dunstone with Loss. One of the first kind of long form, you know, traditional heritage, pagan-y kind of bands that I ever heard. I saw them live in Damnation Festival probably about 15 years ago now. Fuck me. I am getting old. And Loss was the first album I checked out. It is very majestic and very well produced for black metal. There's nothing shaky about this. There's no like necro treble heavy wasp production. It is a very well rounded sounding album, very warm, very majestic, that you could kind of just put it on, just fucking zone out and listen to it and just go with it. I really like the cover as well, very subtle kind of album cover to this. Nothing really came of Woden's Throne really. I think they only had like 2 records, and they didn't really, they didn't do much more than that to my knowledge. But what they did do was really good. The album's pretty good as well, but Loss is by far my favourite one. So in it goes into the list. Number 83, Wolves in the Throne Room with Black Cascade. Not a massive fan of a lot of the stuff that Wolves did. And again, they attract a very hipstery crowd, which is fine by me. But, you know, some people get annoyed at that because they just like to get annoyed at everything. Black Cascade, however, is a very, very fucking electrified release. Like it's crackling with so much energy. And it's one of the few examples, I think, of the atmospheric black metal to the point where it's called Cascadian black metal. I think after this album, actually, I think it was that kind of made-up fucking genre became a tag that people used. But it's one of the few examples of that kind of stuff that I really, really, really like. A lot of it is kind of like, oh, great, oh, look, they're just trying to do Wolves in the Throne Room shit all over again. But yeah, this is, along with Two Hunters, I think is the best kind of Wolves in the Throne Room stuff. Black Cascade, can't go wrong with this. This is powerful, evocative, atmospheric black metal. Brilliant shit. 84, Verdolac with Severed Eyes of Possession. Verdolac, whatever the fuck the name is, seem to have the same level of complaints thrown at them as Ragnarok earlier from number 70, in that they kind of are a one-trick pony. They do the same thing over and over again. This is a band that has, this is a super group of sorts. I can't remember who's in this group, but there is a couple of people from more well-known bands that come together to do this band. It kind of has like a death metal kind of vibe to it as well. It's kind of on the bridge between death and black metal. And it can be very samey. I agree with some of the criticisms, but it's very, very, I don't want to say brutal, but it's very unforgiving, very just like savage metal. As you can probably tell from the album cover, it's pretty on the nose. It's very in your face, and it lacks a lot of subtlety that black metal has. But I still find it really, really enjoyable listen. And the drums especially, I just love listening to this and listen to the drums. If you like something a little bit heavier, a little bit harsher, check out this. Otherwise, maybe move on to the next one. Number 85, Zaster. No idea where that came from. Zaster, A Gate Through Bloodstained Mirrors. Yeah, I mean, if you heard one Zaster album, you've heard them all, right? More or less. A Gate Through Bloodstained Mirrors is Probably one of the first ones I heard, and I think it's probably a good example of the sound Disaster has. Similar to Life Lover, when I first heard it, I'd never heard anything quite as damp and drab and disgusting and depressive as Disaster. So I was like, oh god, this guy sounds like he's so fucking done with life. You know, I shouldn't laugh, but that's the vibe I get. I'm like, oh man, this is fucking depressing. Like, this makes me want to go and smoke cigarettes in a damp room, you know, with rising damp and black mold growing on the wall, and just sit there thinking, what is the point, man? And that's the kind of vibe I get from this. Not to reduce it to a series of jokes. Like, it's a very serious album and very serious vibe, but it is very damp. Damp is probably the best word I could come up with. But yeah, great stuff. Number 86, this is an interesting one because I am not even going to bother to attempt the name of either of the projects on this thing. I'm going to put the art on the screen and wish you best of luck in finding it. Now, this is a Cornish gentleman from down the southwest of the UK in Cornwall, who has many projects. He goes by many names and many faces. Some are better than others, I'll be honest, but a lot of the stuff is incredibly high quality, considering this guy churns out shit like no tomorrow. So this is a split release with 2 projects on it. Again, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce the title of this fucking thing or the name of either fucking band on this. Just know that it is a raw, lo-fi black metal journey. Lots of atmosphere, lots of interesting riffs, and lots of really intricate kind of songs. Despite the, you think, oh, well, this is very dark and depressing and, you know, very lo-fi. But at the same time, you think, well, actually, no, this is taking me on quite a journey here. And there's a lot going on in here if you actually sit and pay attention to it, which I strongly recommend that you do. I keep going to pronounce the name of the project, and I don't even get past the first few letters, you know. But yeah, this is fucking brilliant. Like, to the point, for some mad reason, I bought the CD, the cassette, and the tape. No, the CD, the cassette, and the vinyl I got there. And I do that with albums sometimes. I want to buy every format because it kind of looks really cool. But I don't do it very often. But I did it with this because I just love the art. I love the vibe. It's very fucking weird. It's super underground and lo-fi. And yeah, check it out. Good luck. 87, Zyklon B, Blood Must Be Shed. Zyklon B, what's better? Zyklon or Zyklon? Is it Zyklon? Zyklon B, Zyklon B. I'm going to go with Zyklon. I'm going to go with Zyklon. As you could probably tell, I'm completely and utterly losing my fucking mind. I did not expect this video to be this long. Yeah, Blood Must Be Shed. Nice little EP. Really fucking fast. Really heavy. Kind of like war and Holocaust kind of themes, as you could probably fucking tell from the name. So some people are like, I don't want to touch that. But, you know, you're missing out. This fucking rules. It's way better than Zyklon. The other band, like Zyklon B, is the better of the project with the similar names. Not that that really matters. But, yeah. This is short. It's only a couple of tracks, but it fucking blows your head off. It is fucking outstanding. And because it's really short, I'm going to keep this one short and I'm going to move on to the next one. Number 88, Aburim, with no human intervention. Now, if you don't like industrial in your black metal, you might want to skip this one. But again, this is the perfect balance between the earlier and later Aburims. Really cool fucking vibe on this. Again, similar to the Thorns album, the Thorns self-titled album, where they mixed like this dense industrial and electronic sounds with black metal. Not quite as raw as the Samael stuff I talked about earlier, but more machine-like this one. Yeah, great drum programming and electronics on this. And the black metal is like laid on top. So the actual base, the spine of this, the actual infrastructure, should I say, of this album is electronic and industrial music, and then the black metal's laid on top like a blanket of fog over the top of the factory. Yeah, fucking great. Number 89, Crimach, a Welsh band. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Crimach. I did a video where I incorrectly called this band Crimach. Again, can't speak my own language. It's embarrassing, really. Crimach. According to my son, Crimach is the right way to say this. Endless Fucking Winter is the name of the album. Again, this is a very mysterious project, part of the Pembrokeshire Black Circle, which sounds like a swingers club for the the poshos that live in Pembrokeshire, rather than a legit black metal organisation. But there we go. Interesting choice of name. This band is all drums and atmosphere and not much else, but it creates such a strange and unsettling listen. Especially one of the songs, I can't remember the name of it, it's so fucking long. And this is so weird and disturbing. They have other albums and they have adjacent projects, and they're somehow related to Revenant Marquee. Again, I think it's to do with the whole Black Circle thing that they're trying to do. But this is an unsettling and disturbing listen, and one that obviously calls for the burning of churches. If I'm looking at if I'm interpreting interpreting. Oh my God, sort your life out. Interpreting that album cover properly, then they're all very good with destroyed churches, which is of course very black metal indeed. So one local-ish kind of band to me, and one that I think should definitely be in this list. So moving on then into the final 10. Thank the fucking Lord below. In 90 is Bork Nagar. Self-titled album from 1996. Love the logo on this. Very similar to Ragnarok's logo. I think they're both done by the same guy. So they are very similar. They got the same Force hammer and everything. But yeah, this is a cold classic. Fucking brilliant, really. The production's a little bit on the crisp side, but if I could be so bold in announcing such, I had to turn down the treble a bit on my stereo to stop the harshness of the cymbals and guitars fucking fuzzing out the inside of my head. But with that out of the way, I really, really enjoyed this one. The production, despite the above complaint that I had, has a welcoming density that gives these compositions, these quite intricate compositions, a nice weight to them without drowning out the complementary keyboard and synthesizer work. Surprisingly, after a brush with a lengthy piece earlier in the track list, hammy instrumental interludes were kept mostly at a minimum throughout the rest of the album, and the punishing black metal just flows fully throughout. Vocally, it's worth noting the particularly hellish screams of the frontman Garm, is that how you say his name? As well as the occasional use of more traditional kind of singy-song folky vocals with a heavy kind of Norse kind of feel to them. So yeah, great stuff all round. I love the album cover as well. Not really sure what it is I'm looking at, but it's fucking spooky, and that's all that matters, boss man, in my opinion. Number 91, spicy band alert, Absurd, with Totenlieder. Probably saying that wrong, can't speak German. For a band that has such a ferocious fucking reputation, I would say probably about 90% of Absurd stuff is not NS related. So I figured that one out. I think it's more to do with the earlier days of Absurd's music, and of course the members of the band, which may hold those beliefs in real life. But that's not what I'm about. I'm talking about Totenlieder because it's one of my favourite black metal releases. It wasn't at first. I enjoyed it. Don't like the early Absurd stuff. I like the new Absurd stuff with JFN back at the helm, as it were. And I did like a lot of the Wolf and Unhold era Absurd stuff, like Totenlieder. By far the best example. They split with Grand Belialski and Sirkblot. How do you say that? Yeah, that's a good split as well. But most of the other stuff is kind of it's all right. Totenlieder is fucking fantastic. Now, I don't know if it's the band's proximity to genres like Rack and Oi, but there definitely seems to have that kind of undercurrent cutting through this one. So you've got that kind of, I don't want to say basic, but I'm going to say basic kind of rock and, Rock Against Communism, Oi kind of sound to the backbone. And then on top, you've got black metal riffs. And then on top of that, you've got folk music kind of leads. And it's really great. I remember someone on a forum, I forget what forum it was, but they described Absurd's Totenlieder as a racist martyrdom, which I thought was pretty funny. But as far as I know, this isn't a racist album, but whatever. This sounds brilliant. The vocals, the way it all falls together, the guitar leads are outstanding, as I said. It's a really, I want to say hateful, but it's got such a hateful kind of vocal approach to it, even though the rest of the music isn't that hateful. Again, so you've got this kind of morose simplistic kind of folk approach to the black metal, and then these hateful, just barked vocals over the top. And it really is a really interesting composition, and it's really, really enjoyable. I feel like I've said really a lot. So people are probably going to be like cancelling me for putting absurd on this list, but I think in the sake of viewing the phenomena of black metal from an anthropological standpoint, to exclude absurd would have been wrong, and I therefore have included it. So there we go. Well worth checking out if you can find it. Good, great fucking album, in fact. Number 92, another one on the slightly on the sketchometer, is Deathspell Omega with C Momentum Requires Circumspice. Again, I think a lot of Deathspell fucking hell, learn how to talk. A lot of Deathspell Omega stuff is kind of above my station. It's a bit like, whoa man, just read the fucking interviews on Bard of Mythology with these guys, and I'm just like, what in the flying fuck you guys talking about? I'm far too simple a man to appreciate the philosophical musings of the Deathspell Omega guys, and that does translate a lot into their music. A lot of it is very highbrow stuff, even though it is vicious, fucking vicious black metal. There's a lot to it that goes over my head, I'll be honest with you. But this particular album is a banger. I will be honest with you. If you can give yourself a bit of time to let the complexity of the whole thing kind of wash over you, then it is a far more enjoyable experience than trying to get on the same level as what these guys are trying to say. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there. There's a lot of philosophical types in black metal, isn't there? The old Ubermensch, the old all those kind of people love this kind of shit. It's above my head, like I said, but it sounds fucking fantastic, and yeah, that's why it's on the list. 93, Flamin' Ouroboros, a more recent band, I think, and this was the Blood release. They've had few different releases. Very interesting looseness to this. I don't want to compare it to Death Heaven, but this got that kind of post-genre, post-insert genre kind of vibe to this black metal, and a lot of people don't like it for that reason, but I think it's a very interesting kind of way of doing it. It's very, as some people would say, hipstery, but it definitely gives you a very interesting take to this, especially considering it does seem a bit on, it's using like iconography of the more underground parts of black metal, let's just put it that way. So it's a very interesting mix, and that's what drew me to it. I was like, right, what's going on here then? And then of course I stayed for the music. That's the important thing. Blood is a lot of long form tracks on this, but well worth sticking for. Just let it unfold, enjoy it. It's fucking great. And Flamin' Ouroboros, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly, they're definitely ones to keep an eye on, in my opinion. Moving onwards, because I need to finish this fucking thing before I collapse. It's 94, Archgoat with Heavenly Vulva. You can't go wrong with Archgoat. There's a lot of Archgoat shit which is just fucking wild, and Heavenly Vulva is up there with it. Just look at that. Just look at that fucking album cover. Warmetal.com, just straight up fucking brutality, Christ hating, church burning, angel murdering madness. Bit of sexual deviancy in there as well. Love it. Archgoat, absolutely brutal, uncompromising madness. Fucking get on it. 95, Bal Sagoth with A Black Moon Broods Over Lemuria. I toyed whether or not to include this. I was very late to the party with Bal Sagoth. Again, same as Sai, I would see their albums advertised inside flyers that came with, early Cacophonous Records, stuff like Cradle of Filth stuff. You can also draw a lot of comparisons, actually, with early Cradle of Filth. The same kind of keyboard playing is similar in a lot of parts, and the pitch-shifted narration is very similar as well. The Bal Sagoth have this... one of the downsides of Bal Sagoth is they have this... They have this overuse of narration. They just just let the music breathe, fam. Let it fucking breathe. Because as soon as you get a good bit going, someone's like, oh, I'm narrating over the top and it's very serious. And then this happened and then there was this great battle and everybody died. And I'm like, man, fuck all that shit. Let me hear the fucking black metal underneath. You know what I mean? I think Cradle of Filth came before Bal Sagoth. But Principle and Black Moon Brooding Over Lemuria, whatever the fuck the album's called, it kind of came in the same year, I think. And This definitely came before Cradle's Vampire, where these kind of effects are used to no end. The forest whispers my name. It's interesting to me, though. The reason I'm mentioning this is because two bands on the same label in the same year would use the same vocal effects. That's weird, isn't it? I've never really heard those effects used elsewhere, unless I'm drawing a blank on something. Anyway, A Black Moon Broods Over Lemuria. What a title, fucking hell. Is a stunning example of not only how to mix black metal and death metal elements together, but to then lay on a thick blanket of hammy orchestral keyboard pieces over the top. It reminds me of Psy in some regards, but also this is a bit more cheesy compared to Psy. Yeah, so the record is a bit flat in parts, but it's more to do with the production rather than the delivery. I've tried listening to other Bal Sagoth records, and none of them really hit the spot like this one does. Like I said, I almost didn't include it because there's parts of it which are not as good, like the whole talking over absolutely everything grips my shit. But other than that, definitely an interesting one. It's very unusual, so I think it definitely needs the mentioning for that reason. Let's just leave it at that, yeah? 96, December Moon with Source of Origin. This is a side project of Cradle of Filth bass player Robin Graves, I want to say. And it's a very frosty and very kind of back to basics black metal. It's got like this beautiful kind of keyboard work over the top and a fantastic atmosphere. The may not be that well remembered, and the artwork is pretty bad in all fairness, but I don't think it really got off the ground either, did December Moon. But the album demo, whatever the fuck it is well worth checking out if you're into the more keyboard-driven, atmospheric kind of stuff. It's got that mid to late 90s kind of vibe to it as well, which is just beautiful, and it's well worth mentioning, and I don't see many people talking about it all that much, so I thought, well, I'll chuck that one in. Why the fuck not? 97, bit of Go to Warx core, 35 quid for a vinyl jobby Commodus with an Imperial Sunrises, or one of the Commodus, is it Commodus or Commodus? I don't fucking know. Imperial Sunrises is like, I think it's a demo or an EP. Great stuff. Again, really lo-fi, really kind of shambolic in its delivery, but also, very interesting and very unique considering how much of this stuff there's out there. It's very unique, and it's got a very individualistic atmosphere that you kind of think, oh, this is definitely Commodus or Commodus. I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce the fucking name of this band. There's definitely a vibe with this band. It's a recurring theme, which I'm not really into. But like I said, I'm about the music, and this sounds really good. So I've chucked it in at the end of the list for the fuck of it. And number 98, Goat Smegma with a demonic goat smegma eating ritual. Oh man, this is interesting. Little did I know that song titles like "Licking the Goat's Vaginal Prolapse in the Name of Baphomet" existed. It's like anal cunt in black metal, isn't it? It's usually it's usually grindcore, right? Isn't it? When you get such ridiculous fucking song names in it. But alas, war metal is a mire ripe for the plundering in this regard. So the excellently named Goat Smegma then are to be commended for pushing the absurdities of such a genre into the next level. Thankfully, they have the sonic chops to pull this off without a hitch, and the oral destruction present goes hand in hand with the art and the song content. That is an album cover, isn't it? That it is. No, genuinely, I really enjoyed this one. Inserting an inverted cross into a goat's uterus. Fabulous. Chaotic anal intercourse with the goat. Brilliant stuff. Very interesting, very graphic. Number 99, similar kind of theme, maybe not as smegmery related. Fucking hell. Black Witchery with Upheaval of Satanic Might, a classic, I would say, of the war metal genre. Even though it came in the mid 2000s and not in the early 90s. Once upon a time, I fell asleep with this album on repeat, and I ended up listening to it in my sleep over and over and over and over for about 6 hours. And I think that changed me. It changed me as a person. Whether this nocturnal consumption of war metal will have any long-term effect on my mental state going forward, only time will tell. But I did enjoy Upheaval of Satanic Might. Even before I fell asleep, I did listen to it once or twice when I was reading and doing some other stuff. The riffs could be accused of being somewhat uninspired, let's be honest. It is war metal, but that's okay. You know, if you're deep into this, then that's okay. It really works within the war metal framework anyway. And I like the super basic repetition of certain notes that I held for far, far too long. It's like, I'm not talking like Sia era Swans level of repetition, but a 3-minute war metal track with one riff feels like a million fucking years, let me tell you that. All in all, sick, evil shit from start to finish, with some really interesting interludes and ferocious blasting black metal throughout. One for the die-hard war metal fans, for sure. And then, number 100. Finally, we got to the end of this fucking list. Have a Hedge with Dethrone the Son of God, which has, quite possibly, both the worst logo and the worst art on this list. It's up there with that old Nick one from earlier. I'd heard Have a Hedge before, and I remember turning it off and thinking, oh, fuck this shit. But then I watched of all things, the Punk Rock NBA YouTube channel video on black metal, of all, would you believe it, right? Of all things. And I love how fucking he kind of really goes in on Have a Hedge being like outsider art. And some of that Have a Hedge EPs and stuff are just mad. But this one is fairly straightforward. But anyway, long story short, Have a Hedge being mentioned in that video made me go back and listen to them again. And I was really surprised by how straightforward and, you know, really like on the mark that Dethrone the Son of God is. And it's in 1993, so it's in like the heyday of the genre. So fair fucking play to this project for really getting this black metal so right, so early into the life of black metal. The vocals on this thing are fucking fantastic. And so are the riffs and the drums, to be honest. And the whole thing comes together nicely. And the production isn't too abrasive. It's quite, you know, listenable. If you're coming for like super punishing outsider, you know, weirdo shit, then maybe not this Have a Hedge release. But if you just want straight up fucking black metal, stay for this one. You know, if you've come for Have a Hedge's reputation, the shit that they're known for, maybe not. But, you know, I don't know what I'm saying. This was re-released on Hell's Headbangers of all labels, so, you know, it's got J-Dog's approval, right? So it must be good. Yeah, so that's it. That's 100 fucking black metal. 100. 2 hours and 7 minutes. I mean, that's the counter I've got right now. I might edit this down a bit. I don't know. We'll see. But that's a banger. That should keep you busy for the time being. You know, don't say I don't do enough videos, because I've just done about fucking 8 videos worth in one video. Oh my god. Right. This is quite possibly the longest video I've ever done. So I'm going to knock it on the head. Yeah, if you've got some recommendations for me, leave them in the fucking comments, because I'm always looking for recommendations and shit to listen to. I need to do some more fucking discography retrospectives, because that's how this channel started, and that's why I need to go back and do some more of those. But I've been this has been in my mind for a few weeks, and I wanted to get this out. So yeah, this is 100 black metal albums I think you should listen to if you haven't heard them. I've been Sean. This has been Lines in Wax. I'll see you again in another 6 to 8 months when I can be asked to make another video. Until then, stay cult, drink black coffee, listen to black metal, and walk in the woods like a total weirdo. Ta-ra for now. Wah!